tried to think very hard about whether there's anything that ever needed hiding. After all these years, there must be some things even I've forgotten about.
Valeri, come take a look at this. You too, Traveler.
Some sort of notebook. What is it for?
It's the on-duty logbook for the theater. Kulish was the main person to use it. He mostly used it to record any unusual incidents during a show, audience numbers, exit times, and so on. Yes, he'd always have this logbook with him when he checked tickets at the entrance.
This should confirm a lot of key details about the recent show. So, you find anything unusual?
Yes. The number of people. I've checked and double-checked, but the numbers just don't match what's recorded in the logbook. Apparently, we have an extra person among us.
Are we certain that logbook is accurate? Could someone have sneaked in without buying a ticket or something?
Unlikely. Kulish took his duties very seriously. I've rarely seen any errors in his work. Not to mention that this was a dress rehearsal, meaning smaller audience numbers and tighter ticket restrictions than usual. Everything would have been well within his control.
We no longer have our tickets with us, do we? They got collected on entry. I assume there's no way we can check them again.
Unfortunately not. The theater recycles tickets. Once people are in the door, they don't tend to leave until the show ends. So we collect the tickets at the point of entry. Still, I'm inclined to believe that this discrepancy in the head count is significant somehow.
Did an extra person just materialize out of thin air? Did an extra per...
Tonya, did you find anything?
Not yet. Still looking. So... Are we supposed to be looking for something paranormal? I think I'd prefer teaming up with you than looking around on my own.
This looks like somebody's notebook. Shall we read it together?
Well, it doesn't look scary or anything, so I guess it should be fine. All right, let's read it together.
Huh. This has to be Vodyanitsa's writing, surely.
Maybe it's a little rude for us to peek at this. I feel like I just read someone's secret diary by accident. It sounds like she's writing this for her parents, right? I don't understand. Why put this stuff in a notebook instead of mailing it in a letter? Because her water imp parents belonged to the aristocracy, who were driven out of Snezhnaya by the Tsaritsa long ago. And now they live somewhere new, where the postman can't get to. We're sorry. It's fine. My fault for not storing it properly. I can't leave things lying around and expect them to get ignored when everyone's scouring the place for clues. All right, give me my notebook back. I'll take over the investigation in this room.
Chin up, my man. Me, for example?
So, daydream.
Ah, Traveler. Since you're here, come take a look at this.
Alosha found it. We're both curious to hear your perspective. It appears to be an investigation report. And the focus of the investigation was the rumors of haunting we heard about earlier.
An investigation report, huh? Looks quite old. This person's name looks to be of Sumeru origin to me. Was the investigator from Sumeru?
The theater manager must have hired an investigator once specifically to look into this issue. But it doesn't look like anyone ever looked at the report.
Presumably, the manager wanted to know if the supposed haunting was dangerous while also being fearful of word getting out in case it affected the theater's business. Anyway, the bottom line is, the haunting is actually real after all. It's caused by an obstruction in the ley lines. Is there any chance this is the key to finally making some progress with the murder cases?
Ley line problems are pretty unexceptional to me by this point. And while it certainly offers an explanation for the ghosts, it's hard to imagine what connection it could have to these two murder cases.
Some of the language that appears at the very end of the report caught my eye. Angel civilization, ley line renovation? My area of research doesn't touch on any of that, so it's completely outside of my wheelhouse. Huh? A piece of paper just fell out from the report. It landed right by your feet. How unnerving. It was tucked inside the report, so it must be a note left by the author. Death is near. Is that supposed to be what's going on here? With us, in the theater? But if so, how did the author foresee it? Could he predict the future somehow?
Maybe things are more complicated than we thought.
No, wait a second. If we take the report and the note at face value, they completely contradict one another. The report definitively concludes that the hauntings in the theater are harmless and cannot affect the real world. But the note seems to be warning of potential danger. The question is, what exactly does the note mean by death? The various ways we could interpret this keyword lead in completely different directions. Let's pause our analysis here for now. I think we need more information. If we take all this together, it's not impossible, is it? If anything, it's the natural conclusion.
Well, I beg to differ. This sounds to me like a product of a researcher's vivid imagination. And perhaps it's because I'm still viewing this through the lens of a typical murder investigation. But still, I'm struggling to be persuaded by your theory.
Does it really sound that far-fetched? Alright, well, let's treat that as speculation for now. I do agree with what you've said, so let's go with your idea for now.
Good. Okay, now that we finally have some meaningful leads, I think it's time to reconvene. Let's get the others. So, that's about everything we've discovered so far. I'll share my theory first. Based on what we've learned from the logbook, I believe the extra person among us is most likely the killer. If the killer had simply bought a ticket, it would have greatly increased the risk of their identity being exposed. I expect he or she either hid in the theater ahead of time, or found a way to slip past the ticket inspection. They then blended in with the group and waited for an opportunity to strike.
What about the note found in the investigation report? Any thoughts on how that fits in?
The killer may have simply planted it there as some sort of sick joke. I've seen my fair share of psychopathic killers. They love playing cryptic mind games.
So, it has nothing to do with the haunting of the theater after all.
This theory makes sense to me. If we have an audience member unaccounted for, chances are they didn't come here to watch the show.
Could it really be that simple?
So, in other words, all we have to do is find out who got in here without a ticket, and all our problems will be solved? Then let me make one thing clear. All the theater staff should be well aware that I came here for the rehearsal legitimately, yes? There's no way I'm the one who didn't have a ticket.
It's true. I hear you used every trick in the book to get a hold of that ticket, too. Everything short of throwing a temper tantrum and rolling around on the floor at the entrance.
I most certainly did not degrade myself in such a way.
Probably a stupid question, but I might as well ask. Did anyone here get in without having their ticket checked?
Hmm?
Guess it was naive of me to expect them to just admit to it.
Especially after the unprompted Lelik reveal. Once was already a miracle. Twice would be unfathomable.
Valeri came to the theater to catch Mitya. Those two should be able to vouch for one another, and their motives are clear. As things stand, the audience head count doesn't add up. I guess we can rule out the theater staff. I don't believe any of us here knew Shram before all this. If no one can verify Shram's identity... Mr. Shram, did you really go through the ticket inspection to get in here?
Huh? Me? Why am I being singled out, my friend? Do I seem that suspicious?
It's not that you stand out as suspicious, more that everyone else has been ruled out as trustworthy.
Okay. Well, we spent the best part of 2 days together now, so I'm sure you can all tell what kind of person I am. I'm a true gentleman. I never dream of doing something like sneaking to the theater without a ticket.
Yeah, I have no doubt that you're a good person. But the problem is, none of us here actually know you, so no one can say for sure that you are who you claim to be. Although, actually, what was it you said last night? Yeah, you're friends with that water imp, which is why you understand our primary mode of expression. Last time I checked, there were barely any of us remaining in Snezhnaya, since most of the water imps left. Could you tell me a little bit more about your friend? There's a good chance I actually know her. And I suppose it's also kind of a way for everyone else to get to know you a little better.
Good grief. Are you blushing? Pull yourself together, man. Stop giggling like a teenage boy. It's revolting.
Hey, revolting is a little strong. All right, fine. I'll admit it. That water imp friend of mine, the truth is, we're dating. I was just the bodyguard hired by our family. But the stars must have aligned, because sparks began to fly between me and their daughter. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd get so lucky.
We don't need details. Just get to the point.
Okay. I'm just a little hesitant to reveal her name, that's all. You know how it is. These are delicate times. Even with me to protect her. If word gets out that she's dating a human, both the Fae and human factions will give her a hard time.
Really? Wait, no. That can't be.
Huh? Shram, what the devil are you talking about?
Why is everyone looking at me like that? Surely you can understand where I'm coming from.
Delicate times? Factions?
Yes? You know, the Civil War? Last time I checked, the Fae and the humans were still at each other's throats.
If I'm not mistaken, the last significant civil war in Snezhnaya history was over 400 years ago, when Her Majesty the Tsaritsa had just taken the throne and was consolidating her reign.
What do you mean, 400 years ago?
What's going on here? Is Shram from the past?
All right, Mr. Mitya, you win this round. As far-fetched as it is, it appears that your theory may be correct.
I'm just as amazed as you are. I didn't even believe it myself, to be honest.
Is someone going to explain what's going on here?
From the look on your face, you figured it out too, haven't you, Traveler?
That seems to be the case. Shram's the The theater's ley lines have been modified to block souls within its grounds from returning to them. Some souls can even wander this place forever. Mr. Shram's statement proves he is from hundreds of years ago. And according to the investigation report on the theater hauntings, Mr. Shram is very likely a lost soul wandering the theater. For some unknown reason, the soul that has been wandering the theater due to the ley line issues has joined our group and blended in. Yeah, that must be the immediate reason why the ticket count doesn't match the number of people present. The contents of the investigation report have been verified. There are indeed ley line issues and wandering souls in the theater. Death likely symbolizes the deceased. Mr. Shram, for instance. Death is near. That must mean that there's a dead person in our midst. That's the truth, isn't it?
Yeah, the logic is clear now. The investigation report said that there would be souls stuck wandering around the theater because the ley lines were cut off. Mr. Schramm must be one such soul who died in the theater a long time ago. In which case, that also makes him our extra person. So when the note said death is near, it must have been referring to death as in the deceased, people who died a long time ago.
Someone who died a long time ago.
In short, there's a dead person among us. The extra person we've been searching for is a ghost from the past.
You mean I'm a ghost? No. Don't make jokes like that, my man. There must be some mistake. But even if I was dead, I know for a fact I didn't kill anyone these past 2 nights.
Yeah, even if all that's true, the report also said the souls inside the theater can't affect reality, right? They're harmless.
Then what if the problem isn't the souls at all, but the ley lines themselves? The ley lines have a powerful ability to attract and devour souls. Let's say that the ley lines are like a black hole, constantly seeking to engulf souls. But the souls that don't want to return are trying to avoid being sucked in.
Huh. Why does this analogy sound so familiar?
What happens when the black hole can't achieve its goal? I'm only speculating here, but what if it ended up swallowing innocent souls by mistake, or intentionally taking other souls to compensate?
That could explain why we weren't able to determine a cause of death. If you're right, and their souls were devoured by the ley lines, it does make some sense.
It does seem to explain a lot of the things we couldn't make sense of. Does that mean it's true?
Except there's no concrete evidence. Mitya's relying on a lot of logical leaps. Still, it seems like the best explanation we have under the circumstances.
All right, so how could Schramm not know that he's dead? Seems a little unlikely that he hasn't noticed anything unusual even after several days interacting with us.
On the contrary, it's perfectly normal for a soul to wander the theater for centuries without questioning their existence or reason for being there. It's simply what's natural for them.
You know what, Mr. Brainiac? I think you might actually be right after all. I'm trying to remember and... even though my head feels like it's going to explode, I think... it's all coming back to me. I was the one who didn't want to remember my own death, so I forced myself to forget.
Well, I'm sure those are painful memories.
My lady and I snuck out to go on a date one day. We bought tickets for the theater. It wasn't really my thing, but I was just happy to be together. All of a sudden, a group of people burst into the theater, shouting for all the water imps to get out, performers and audience members included. It was clear the conflict between humans and Fae had reached a boiling point. This time, the extremists were even coming after the water imps who had nothing to do with the war. I thought I could pull one over on them, so I took off my jacket, draped it over my lady, and tried to sneak out amid the chaos. But I got caught. They started shouting, calling me a traitor to humanity. But I was going to do whatever it took to buy her a chance to escape, no matter how many people stood in my way. I had to, both as their bodyguard and out of love.
It's all right, friend. You can stop there if you want. You don't need to dig all that up again.
It's just... even now, I'm still struggling to accept the truth. How could I be dead? I'm sorry, everyone. If I'd known I was a dead man walking, I wouldn't have dragged you down with me. If I'm the cause of all this death, then punish me however you see fit.
But, Mr. Shroom...
No. I refuse to be a burden. I know what I have to do. You said I've been wandering the theater for centuries, right? I guess it's high time I got a breath of fresh air. Out there, I mean. I'll leave this place and take all this death with me. Go out on my own terms.
Mr. Schramm, I'm sure we can figure out a different course of action.
My good sir, we both know I'm not supposed to be here. I should have accepted my death long ago. One way or another, this has to end. Unless you're saying this goes against another one of your military principles somehow.
No, I'm speaking on a personal level this time.
Let it go, man. Oh, wait. One last thing. Miss Waterimp. My lover. Her name was Litia. Litia Ozarova. Do you know what happened to her?
Ozarova. Oh, Auntie Ozarova. That's what we all called her. I remember her as a very kind elder. She had a bunch of kids, too.
I'm so glad she survived. And she had lots of kids? Good. That's good. I could hardly expect her to stay single just because of what happened to me, right? As long as she went on to be happy, that's all that matters. Besides, I'm dead. My soul's been wandering around here for so long because I was worried about her. But now, I can go without regret. There's no need to see me off, my friends. I've enjoyed our time together over these past few days. Perhaps we'll meet again in the next life.
Take care, my man.
I knew Mr. Schramm was already dead, but I still feel so sad.
Death is cruel, no matter how we might try to make sense of it.
So, was the conflict between Fae and humans really that bad back then? I was only little, so I don't remember much. It's terrible to think that so many innocent people had their lives turned upside down. Even the historical records about that time period don't say much about it. All people know is that the Tsaritsa founded the Fatui, drove out most of the Fae aristocracy without explanation, then used her terrifying power to suppress the humans.
It seems to me like the Tsaritsa chose to make herself the enemy. She downplayed the conflict, directing whatever animosity both sides had for each other at herself instead. That's also why, despite how brutal the conflict was at the time, there hasn't been much lingering tension between humans and Fae since. Things have been fairly harmonious for the past few centuries.
So, the Tsaritsa banished the Fae to protect the Fae living in the city? She offered herself up to be hated in exchange for peace.
Maybe it's not quite as bad as it sounds. I don't think Her Majesty is too concerned if mortals hate her or not. And besides, there are very few who truly do.
All this time, I had no idea.
All right, if Mitia's theory is correct, then I think we can consider this matter settled. Let's all take a break.
Ugh, if only this blasted storm wasn't still raging on.